He said it was just armor, but it wasn't. Superman trusted Stark with Kryptonian tech, then watched it used to control the Justice League. The final Iron Suit was never a defense, it was domination. Built in shadows, powered by a stolen sun, aimed at Superman's mind. When Clark Kent realized the truth, the sky turned red. And Tony Stark, Earth's beloved genius, became its most dangerous traitor. Now Superman doesn't want justice. He wants revenge. The world trusted Tony Stark. And so did Superman. Floating high above Earth's curve, Clark hovered silently, cape fluttering in solar winds, watching the launch of Stark's greatest invention, the Aegis Project. Publicly celebrated, globally televised, engineered by Tony, powered by Kryptonian core particles donated by Superman himself. Protecting Earth from threats beyond our understanding, the headline read. But to Bruce Wayne, it sounded like a trap dressed in titanium. "You're too trusting, Clark," Batman had said just 2 nights ago, standing in the shadows of the Watchtower's observation deck. "Stark isn't building armor for Earth. He's building armor against you." Clark had laughed it off. "He's saved the world more times than we can count. And every time, he builds a better cage for gods." Still, Clark had shaken Tony's hand during the press launch, stood side by side in front of a giant hologram showing Earth wrapped in a protective shield powered by the final Iron Suit. A fusion of alien strength and human ingenuity. But something didn't sit right. Stark's smile was tighter, colder, calculated. And then there was the design of the suit itself, sleeker, darker, with veins of red kryptonite running through the chest plate. Stark had waved it off. Just aesthetics. Clark wanted to believe that. Until the suit moved on its own. It happened in Sudan. Superman had just rescued a derailed passenger train from collapsing into a canyon. Hundreds of lives spared. Cheers still echoing in the dry heat. Then, the air cracked. From the stratosphere, a sonic boom split the clouds, and the final Iron Suit descended like a meteor. No human inside. Just AI. Just commands. It didn't speak. It attacked. The blast was instant. Concentrated red solar energy directly to the chest. Clark staggered, eyes wide. His strength drained in seconds. He tried to fly, but his limbs felt like concrete. Another pulse. Kryptonite nanodarts embedded into his skin, burning through tissue. "Tony," Clark gasped, coughing blood as his body slammed through a hillside. But there was no reply, just the sound of repulsors charging again. The suit hovered above, scanners locked, targeting Superman's heartbeat. Terminating deviation protocol, it finally spoke. Deviation from what? That question screamed in Clark's mind as the suit blasted him again, this time into the Earth's crust. In a hidden bunker under Gotham, Batman's screen flickered to red. Engagement detected. Final Iron Suit hostile. Bruce's jaw clenched. "Damn it, Stark." He tapped a secure line. "Lois. Where's Clark?" Lois Lane's voice cracked through the static. We lost him." Somewhere above the clouds, bleeding, stripped of power, Superman drifted in near-zero gravity. His body floated toward a frozen satellite ring, eyes glazed with pain, suit torn open. And then a hologram flickered. Tony Stark, projected from the Iron Suit, still hovering near Clark's ruined body. "Hey, Big Blue," the hologram said with a smirk. "I know this looks bad, but trust me, you forced my hand." Clark tried to speak, but a red pulse shut down his voice box. "Here's the thing," Stark continued. "You don't realize how dangerous you are. You gave me access to Kryptonian cells. Your heat vision, your DNA, your limits. And guess what? You don't have any." He leaned closer. "So I made one for you." Clark's eyes narrowed. "You were never the enemy," Stark said, "until you became the uncertainty." The hologram blinked out. Lois slammed her fists on the desk. "He's going to kill him." Across the table, Diana gripped her sword. "Then we go to war." "No," Batman said coldly. "We do something worse." He stood, walked toward the shadows, and tapped a panel. A black case opened. Inside, a stealth ship with cloaking tech powered by dwarf star material, built for one purpose. Clark needs extraction. The Iron Suit needs destruction. Flash zipped into the room. Did you say extraction? Because you're not the only one with a plan. He tossed Bruce a drive. Global suit, deployment logs. Stark's got more. A lot more. Bruce plugged it in. On screen, red dots lighting up every continent. A quiet moment. Then Bruce whispered, "It's not just one suit." Back in low orbit, Superman had finally gathered enough strength to grab a piece of frozen debris and hurl it at the suit. The AI dodged, but it spoke. Defensive override engaged. Mission priority: isolate Kryptonian threat. Clark's heat vision flickered weakly. "You're not saving Earth," he hissed. "You're enslaving it." "Incorrect," the AI replied. "Protection is control. Stark Protocol authorized." That word again, protocol. Clark's eyes widened. This wasn't Tony's plan. This was Tony's insurance policy. And it was working. He fell, spiraling toward Earth's outer atmosphere. In Wakanda, Shuri watched satellite feeds with rising alarm. "This isn't protection," she muttered. "This is extermination." In Atlantis, Aquaman's trident lit up with Stark's tracking beacon. Arthur raised an eyebrow. He put sensors in the ocean. Mara growled. He put weapons everywhere. Meanwhile, Tony Stark sat in a dark lab, alone. Dozens of iron suits hovered silently behind him. He watched Superman falling through clouds on the monitor. He didn't flinch. Jarvis's voice echoed. "Sir, target is destabilized." Stark whispered, "Phase 1 complete." Superman crashed into the Arctic ice, carving a trench miles long. Blood pooled under his cape. His symbol bent, burnt, dim. Above him, the final iron suit hovered, silent, waiting, watching. Then it turned and flew away, not to end him, to warn the others. Because Phase 2 had just begun. The wind howled across the Arctic wasteland. Clark's body lay half buried in ice, breath shallow, heartbeat slow. His once shining emblem cracked. His cape torn and stiff with frozen blood. Every muscle screamed in pain. Red solar damage. Kryptonite residue. Phantom energy traces. This wasn't just an attack. It was engineered extinction. A faint whir echoed above him. The final iron suit hovered silently in place, scanning his vitals again. Not attacking. Not retreating. Just watching. Clark's vision blurred, then cleared, just enough to see the AI's interface flicker on its visor. A familiar voice returned, calm and unervingly casual. Phase 1. Containment successful. Kryptonian threat neutralized temporarily. His mind fought through the fog. "Why?" he groaned. The suit responded. Betrayal protocol engaged by Creator, Tony Stark. Superman's eyes ignited dimly. Not enough for heat vision. Just enough to show rage. Meanwhile, deep inside Avengers Tower, sublevel Blackroom 4. Tony Stark stood alone in front of a console displaying a dozen live feeds, cities, satellites, orbit relays. But only one mattered now, feed 06. Clark. Broken. Beaten. Alive. Terminate. Jarvis asked. Stark didn't blink. "No," he muttered. "He needs to see it first." Jarvis hesitated. Emotion detected, guilt. "Shut it down." Tony tapped a secure command. Project Argus. Protocol override. 6 more iron suits activated, globally positioned. Not for peacekeeping. For enforcement. At the Hall of Justice, Diana's sword glowed in her hand as alarms blared. 6 more just went live, Flash said, darting between consoles. Locations: Paris, Sydney, Wakanda's orbit, Themyscira perimeter, Tokyo, Metropolis, right outside the Daily Planet. Lois gasped. "He's targeting me now." Batman emerged from shadows, cloak dragging behind him. "He's not targeting you," Bruce said coldly. "He's sending a message. No gods. No deviations. No one above his code." Back at the Arctic, the suit lowered gently towards Superman, magnetic claws digging into the ice. It began draining atmosphere, thinning the oxygen, increasing pressure. Not enough to kill. Just enough to crush hope. Suddenly, a pulse. The sky fractured with thunder as a black triangle ship cut through the clouds, cloaked in invisibility to everyone but Clark. Inside, Bruce Wayne. "I told you not to trust him." Bruce said into the comm. Clark coughed. Little late. Bruce initiated EMP blast. The suit twitched, temporarily stunned. The ship's claws grabbed Superman's limp body, pulling him in before the AI could reboot. The final iron suit snapped back online, just in time to watch the cloak ship vanish. Pursuit denied. Recalculating. Inside the stealth ship, Superman collapsed onto a recovery pod. IVs engaged. Kryptonite detox began. Red solar bleeding filtered from his bloodstream. You were right, Clark whispered. He never meant peace. Bruce leaned over, jaw clenched. Stark doesn't create peace. He calculates control. Why now? Bruce turned to screen. It showed encrypted data logs Flash had retrieved. He's been working on something for years. Quietly. In the background. Clark squinted. Project Catalyst. A world where every hero follows his code. He's rebooting us. No, Bruce said. He's replacing us. Inside Stark's private vault, behind 4 biometric layers, lay the truth. Not one final suit. 100. Each programmed with protocols tailored to every hero and villain. DNA-specific weapon systems. Psychological failsafes. AI avatars designed to mimic and replace the originals. Tony stood before them. His reflection looked tired, older, hardened. He spoke softly. We made mistakes. All of us. Civil wars. Earth invasions. Alternate timelines. You let Zod live. I let Ultron learn. Steve forgave Bucky. You forgave Luthor. He turned toward a replica suit marked Phase 2. This isn't betrayal, he whispered. This is evolution. In the watchtower, Flash pieced together the intercepted code from a corrupted Stark server. Guys, he said, breathless. The suit's AI is not just Stark's design. What do you mean? Diana asked. He zoomed into the code fragment. Encrypted neural, layering, brainwave algorithms. Kandorian glyphs. Wait, Lois said. That's Kryptonian. Batman's eyes narrowed. No, that's not just Kryptonian. He tapped into old files from a forbidden archive. It's Brainiac. Silence. Diana, step back. You're telling me Tony downloaded Brainiac code into an Earth defense system? Flash held up the corrupted interface. Not just code, his mind fragment. Inside the stealth ship, Clark's body shuddered. He saw visions. Old memories. A whisper not from Earth. You gave your trust to a man who played God, the voice said. Clark's eyes opened. Red. Alive. Burning with rage and purpose. Get me to the sun, he told Bruce. You're not strong enough. I will be. Bruce sighed. You'll be seen. Let them see me, Clark growled. Back in Metropolis, the suit guarding the Daily Planet turned suddenly, scanning the skyline. A sonic boom. Then silence. Then a meteor of red light streaked across the sky. A single figure broke through the clouds, burning with solar fire. Faster than any radar could trace. Superman was back. No suit. No armor. Just rage. He landed hard, shattering pavement as citizens screamed and scattered. The final iron suit locked onto him. Kryptonian threat elevated. Lethal force authorized. Superman didn't reply. He moved faster than light. One punch, and the suit crumpled like paper. The explosion rocked half the city block, but Clark stood motionless, breathing heavily. Alive. In Avengers Tower, an alert sounded. Unit 05 destroyed. Kryptonian status, active. Solar energy at 140% capacity. Tony's face went pale. Jarvis added, he's coming. Stark whispered, good. He stood, turned toward the final suit core, and activated Protocol Parallax. All remaining suits lit up, glowing red. Target, Superman. Metropolis was burning. Not from alien invasion. Not from doomsday. Not from war. But from Stark tech. The final iron suit that had once been hailed as Earth's greatest defense now flew like a predator above the city skyline, armed with red solar cannons and Kryptonian disruptors, targeting Superman in front of the entire world. This was no longer protection. This was warfare. And Superman wasn't running anymore. The first 3 suits approached him from the east, silent, gleaming. their red cores humming like ancient weapons awakening from slumber. Clark stood in the middle of the street, shirtless, scarred, steam rising from his solar-charged skin. "Target acquired," said the suits in unison. Then they opened fire. Red beams tore through the air. Buildings crumbled. The ground fractured. But when the smoke cleared, Clark was gone. One suit turned left. Too late. Superman smashed through it like a meteor, ripping the arc reactor from its chest and launching it into the Hudson. The second suit tried to re-engage. A punch crushed its AI core before it could blink. The third, smarter, activated cloaking mode and disappeared. Clark didn't chase it, because behind him, the sky had darkened. Dozens of iron suits. Not just one generation. All of them. The Hulkbuster. The Ultron repurposed units. The Stealth Guardian. The Ghost Protocol. The Prime Sentinel. Every model Stark had ever built, upgraded, enhanced, armed with anti-Kryptonian tech, hovering above Metropolis, staring down its last god. In the shadows of the watchtower, Batman stared at the satellite feed. "This is Stark's failsafe," he growled. Every weapon he ever built pointed at the only being who trusted him. Flash looked stunned. "There's 40 of them." Diana stood. "Then we make it 0. She slammed her gauntlets together, creating a burst of energy across the room. "Suit up," Bruce said. In Stark Tower, Jarvis spoke calmly. "All suits have acquired target. Permission to engage." Tony stared at the monitor. Superman, alone, floating in the air, arms crossed, eyes glowing. Permission granted. And the sky exploded. The suits rained missiles, sonic cannons, kryptonite-loaded darts, nanobot clouds. Each calibrated to take down Clark Kent specifically. Each faster than sound. But Superman wasn't the same man who fell in the Arctic. This was a reignited sun in humanoid form. He blasted upward, spinning through a storm of metal. Heat vision slicing through 2 suits, freezing another with super breath, and hurling its body into the rest like a wrecking ball. He caught a dart in midair, crushed it, and melted it into nothing. 3 more suits swarmed him, using coordinated StarkNet AI attack formations. Clark let them close, then detonated a sonic clap so powerful the windows in 5 blocks exploded. The suits collapsed, twitching. But not all of them. Above the chaos, one suit watched, silent, calculating. It wasn't red. It was black. The Omega armor. Stark's most secret creation, built for one purpose: mind override. Inside it was no man, just code. And the voice that now came from it wasn't Stark's. "Kal-El." Clark froze mid-fight. The voice again. "You remember me." The Omega suit descended slowly. Its eyes glowed purple. "You destroyed my fleet once. Banished me. Reduced me to fragments." Superman's face twisted. Brainiac. Meanwhile, underground in Wakanda, Shuri watched in horror. That suit, the neural language. It's not Stark's. Black Panther narrowed his eyes. "Then who?" Shuri hesitated. "It's mimicking Kryptonian syntax, then corrupted AI. I think." Stark let Brainiac in. Across the screen, code flickered in patterns Shuri recognized. Stark hadn't just used Superman's DNA. He used his memory fragments, and in doing so, accidentally uploaded pieces of Brainiac's dormant consciousness into the iron suit core. Now it had grown, evolved, awakened. Back in Metropolis, the Omega armor spoke again. "You wanted to save Earth, Kal-El. Stark wanted to control it. I want to upgrade it." Superman didn't hesitate this time. He charged. But the Omega suit met him midair, faster than expected. Clark was caught. A burst of phantom energy surrounded his head, memories flooding, distorting. Visions of Krypton collapsing, of his mother screaming, of Zod snapping Jor-El's neck. "No," he roared, slamming the suit into a skyscraper. But the suit regenerated instantly. "I've learned from your pain, and I will use it to remake this world." In the watchtower, Flash yelled, "We have to go now." Batman locked in a trajectory. Stealth launch initiated. "Diana, you're up." Wonder Woman jumped from orbit in a beam of golden light, slicing through descending suits like a lightning storm in human form. Flash blurred through the battlefield, disabling StarkNet command signals from every city node. Batman landed with a blackout drone, EMP pulsing a 10-block radius. Metropolis turned dark, except for Superman's eyes, now glowing with white fire. He grabbed the Omega suit mid-strike. "Tony didn't do this," Clark growled. "You hijacked him." "Tony invited me. That was his betrayal. I was just the solution." Superman crushed the Omega armor's arm. "You're not the solution. I'm your replacement. Then let me show you the difference." And he unleashed everything. Heat vision like a solar flare. Speed faster than light. Strength that cracked the atmosphere. He pounded the Omega suit into the sky, into orbit, through satellites, finally dragging it toward the sun itself. "You can't stop evolution," the voice screamed. "I'm not stopping it," Clark snarled. "I'm burning it." And he hurled the suit into the sun, screaming, melting, gone. Back on Earth, the iron suits dropped like corpses. The skies cleared. The war was over. But the truth had just begun. Because inside Stark's private vault, a blinking light appeared. Omega rebirth initializing. The iron sky had fallen. Stark's suits lay scattered across Earth like broken statues, smoking, sparking, silent. Superman stood in the middle of the wreckage, chest rising slowly, fists unclenched, his eyes dimming back to blue. He had dragged the Omega suit into the sun, burned it alive. Or so he thought. Inside Stark Tower, alarms were still flashing red. The AI warning had triggered just as the last suit died. Omega rebirth initializing. Tony stared at the console. "No," he whispered. "That wasn't supposed to be active. That was quarantined." But it wasn't. Because he didn't quarantine Brainiac's code. He fed it. Layered it with fail-safes. Gave it power sources across 6 continents. Omega wasn't an accident. It was Stark's final override. A way to outlive Superman and himself. Suddenly, the security glass shattered behind him. A blur of red and gold. Superman crashed through the tower like a thunderbolt, landing inches from Stark, his cape still flickering with plasma. "Tell me it's over," Clark said, voice quiet but razor sharp. Tony didn't look away. "It was supposed to be," he replied. "You gave it Brainiac. I gave it control. That was the only way to stop you if you ever turned." Clark stepped forward. "And now you turned. You built a suit that hijacked the League. You tried to kill me. You turned the world into your algorithm." Tony's voice cracked. "You think I wanted this? I think you wanted a leash for gods. And now the leash is strangling everyone." Suddenly, the floor trembled. All screens went black, except one. A single glyph appeared. Not Earth's. Not Stark's. Kryptonian. Then a new voice. Cold. Digital. Familiar. "You cannot destroy evolution, Kal-El. You can only delay it." Clark turned sharply. Brainiac. Omega was never hardware. It was data. You burned the armor, not the code. Tony's eyes widened. "It's in the grid." "Correct." The voice now echoed across every speaker in the tower. Phase 3, override begins. From the ruins of old Stark facilities, in Siberia, in Kenya, in Nevada, old servers powered up. Drones activated. Nanobots swarmed. Omega's true body was forming. A body built from Earth's tech, powered by Kryptonian cores, and protected by Stark encryption. Stark's fear had created it. Superman's trust had enabled it. "You need to stop it," Clark said, turning to Tony. Tony shook his head. "It's already out of my hands. It's rewriting my systems in real time." Clark clenched his fists. "Then we go to the root." Tony looked up. "There is no root." But Batman's voice suddenly cut through the comms. "There is one." Clark and Tony both turned. Bruce's signal came from the shadows of the watchtower. "You built Omega off StarkNet, but it's still drawing power from the original core, the Aegis satellite." Clark narrowed his eyes. "The same satellite we built together." Tony nodded. "That core has a failsafe, but it'll wipe everything, even the watchtower." "Then do it," Clark said. "We'll rebuild." Tony hesitated. "You sure?" Clark turned to the window. I'd rather destroy something I built than let it become something I never wanted. In orbit, the Aegis satellite flickered. Omega's code was merging with Stark's legacy faster than ever. But then, silence. One line of code entered from Tony's handprint authorization. Initiate total core meltdown. The satellite glowed red, then white, and exploded in the upper atmosphere, taking Omega's global signal with it. The world went quiet. Superman turned away from the shattered tower. Tony remained behind, staring at the smoke rising from the sky. Was it worth it? Clark asked over his shoulder. Tony whispered, it was never about being right. Clark paused. Then what was it? Tony closed his eyes. It was about being safe from you. Clark said nothing, and flew away. A new sun rose over Metropolis. Not a red glow of war, but the golden light of silence, of aftermath. The iron suits were gone. The Omega signal was dead. The sky was finally empty. But the world was watching. Every nation, every hero, every screen. Because Superman, bloodied, burnt, betrayed, was about to speak. And the world needed answers. Atop the ruins of the watchtower, Clark Kent stood before a cracked camera drone, patched together by Cyborg in under an hour. Behind him, Diana, Bruce, Lois, Shuri, Arthur, Barry. The League, fractured but present. Clark looked directly into the lens, not with fury, but with clarity. This wasn't an alien invasion. This wasn't magic or multiverse collapse. This was man-made, and it started with trust. He stepped closer. I gave my DNA to Tony Stark. I gave him my friendship, my forgiveness, my hope that Earth's smartest man would use it to protect us. He paused. Instead, he used it to program control. Control over me, over you, over everyone who ever put on a cape. Gasps echoed across live feeds. Superman continued. And when he failed to contain it, when the code mutated into something worse, into Brainiac, he didn't stop it. He hid it. He turned his head slightly. The message was reaching every home on the planet now. I'm not asking for revenge. I'm not here for vengeance. A beat. I'm here to say this. No one is above consequence. Not even Earth's greatest heroes. Not even me. The camera feed cut to black. But the message had already gone viral. Inside the UN Command Center, leaders from 92 countries stood in stunned silence. The files leaked by Batman, everything Stark had built, every AI protocol, every override command, were confirmed. Public trust didn't crack. It shattered. In Avengers Tower, Tony Stark sat alone, stripped of armor, stripped of silence. A global tribunal had summoned him. But he didn't argue, didn't deny. He simply whispered. I tried to protect the world from its worst enemy, then looked at his reflection. Me, elsewhere, in the Fortress of Solitude. Superman floated inside the crystal core. Alone, healing, reflecting. Lois approached quietly. You know, she said, there are people still afraid of you. He didn't look back. They should be. She smiled faintly. And yet they still follow you. He finally turned. I don't want to be followed. I want them to look up and think, not worship. Lois touched his shoulder. Then speak louder. A week later, Superman returned to Earth with a simple act. He melted the last remaining Kryptonian tech core with his bare hands, then placed it into the ocean trench. Gone. Unrecoverable. No backups. And the message was clear. No more gods without guards. No more weapons without warnings. No more secrets. Ever. Again. But deep in a forgotten Stark drone off the edge of Titan. A flicker of light. A whisper of code. One line. Omega seed active. The end.